Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm here again with a brand new story. Enjoy the story, and don't forget to share your valuable thoughts in the comments.
What if the most terrifying discoveries in America were never meant to be uncovered? What if beneath the peaceful landscapes, abandoned highways, and forgotten forests of the United States, there still remained secrets so ancient, so disturbing, that even modern science could not fully explain them? Tonight's story is based on one of those unsettling mysteries, an event that reportedly took place deep within the American Southwest, where an ordinary construction project led workers to something buried for thousands of years. And what they found beneath the ground would leave experts confused, historians divided, and locals terrified for decades. This is the story of the hidden chamber beneath Red Canyon. In the summer of 1998, a road expansion project began near a remote desert region outside of northern Arizona, not far from several protected lands known for ancient native settlements, rock carvings, and abandoned cave systems. The project itself was simple. A state-funded construction team had been assigned to widen a two-lane highway frequently used by travelers and cargo vehicles. The area was considered safe, quiet, and mostly empty except for a few scattered ranch houses and miles of dry sandstone cliffs. Nothing unusual was expected. But on the sixth day of excavation, one bulldozer operator reported that his machine had suddenly sunk several inches into the ground. At first, workers assumed it was unstable soil or a natural cavity. These were common enough in desert regions. However, when engineers examined the site, they noticed something strange. The ground beneath the machine was hollow. Not naturally hollow, artificially hollow. As workers carefully removed more dirt and rock, they uncovered what appeared to be a perfectly circular stone surface, roughly 12 feet wide. The stone was unlike anything native to the immediate area. It was smoother, darker, and carved with shallow geometric markings arranged in repeating patterns. No known tribal records matched the design. Photographs were taken immediately. Samples were collected from the walls and floor. Then came the first disturbing discovery. In the center of the chamber stood a stone pedestal. On top of it rested a sealed container made from an unknown black mineral, not metal, not volcanic glass, something else. Its surface absorbed light unusually well, appearing almost unnaturally dark in photographs. The container was roughly the size of a shoebox and covered in the same repeating symbols. According to later interviews, one archaeologist suggested leaving it untouched until laboratory specialists could arrive, but curiosity won. The team attempted to open it. The lid did not budge. No visible locking mechanism existed. Eventually, they transported the object to the surface. That same night, multiple workers reported hearing unusual sounds near the excavation camp. At first, they described distant humming, then low vibrations, then something stranger. Several workers independently claimed they heard what sounded like whispering outside their temporary housing units. Not wind, not animals, human-like whispering. Yet whenever they stepped outside, the desert was silent. The following morning, one team member failed to report for duty. His name was reportedly withheld from public records. Search teams located him nearly half a mile from camp, standing motionless beside a rock formation. Witnesses later claimed he appeared confused, pale, and unable to explain how he got there. When questioned, he allegedly repeated only one sentence: "It should have stayed buried." By day 10, the excavation site had attracted federal attention. Vehicles without state markings reportedly arrived late at night. Workers were instructed not to discuss the discovery with media. Security around the site increased significantly. Officially, authorities claimed the excavation was paused due to structural instability. Unofficially, rumors spread rapidly. Locals in nearby towns began sharing older legends, stories passed down for generations about forbidden ground beneath Red Canyon. One legend spoke of an ancient underground place called the Sleeping Circle. According to oral accounts, tribal elders warned younger generations never to dig in certain parts of the canyon, not because of curses or monsters, but because some doors were closed for a reason. Most dismissed these stories as folklore, until another incident occurred. 3 nights after federal authorities arrived, a temporary power outage affected the entire excavation camp. Backup generators activated within seconds, but during that brief blackout, one surveillance camera continued recording using battery reserve. The video reportedly showed a portion of the dig site illuminated only by moonlight. For approximately 7 seconds, a tall, shadow-like figure appeared near the shaft entrance. It did not move like a person. Its proportions seemed wrong, too thin, too tall, with arms hanging unusually low. Then, without explanation, it disappeared from frame. No one could identify it. Skeptics argued it was camera distortion or a worker passing by. Believers were not convinced. The next morning, the site was permanently closed.
Fencing was installed, equipment was removed, and all personnel were reportedly reassigned. Public statements claimed archaeologists had determined the site was historically sensitive and would remain protected from further disturbance. No formal research papers were ever publicly released. No museum exhibits followed. No official findings were announced. The black container vanished from records entirely. But the story did not end there. In 2006, a retired geologist who claimed involvement in the original excavation gave an anonymous radio interview. His voice was distorted, his identity concealed. During the interview, he described events far stranger than those publicly known. According to him, the underground chamber extended far beyond the first room. Behind one carved wall was a concealed passage leading deeper underground. A tunnel system continued for hundreds of feet, possibly farther. He claimed a second chamber had been located, larger, older, and far more disturbing. Inside were stone platforms arranged in circular patterns and walls depicting scenes unlike anything previously discovered in North America. Not hunting scenes, not rituals, but what looked like astronomical events, eclipses, falling stars, and large objects descending from the sky. The anonymous source made one chilling statement before ending the interview. He said, "We thought we were discovering ancient history, but after what we saw down there, some of us believed history itself was incomplete." The radio segment quickly gained attention among conspiracy communities. Many dismissed it as fabricated, yet former workers connected to the road project reportedly refused interviews. Several declined to discuss Arizona entirely. One family member of a former contractor claimed her relative experienced recurring nightmares for years after working at the site. Nightmares involving underground stairs, whispering voices, and a dark room with no visible exit. Even today, travelers passing through parts of northern Arizona occasionally discuss unusual rumors surrounding abandoned sections of old construction routes. Some claim restricted zones still exist in remote canyon regions. Others say certain coordinates once associated with the dig are now inaccessible. Whether true or exaggerated, the mystery continues. What exactly was buried beneath Red Canyon?
An unknown ceremonial structure? A lost civilization? An elaborate hoax? Or something far older than historians are prepared to explain? No confirmed answers exist, only fragments, stories, leaked footage, anonymous testimony, and one unanswered question. Why would a simple highway project suddenly attract such secrecy? Perhaps there was nothing unusual at all. Perhaps the human mind naturally creates mystery where information is missing. But history has shown something fascinating. America is filled with forgotten places, hidden tunnels, lost settlements, ancient petroglyphs, buried ruins, and unexplained discoveries still waiting beneath its surface. Sometimes, the most terrifying mysteries are not found in fiction. They are uncovered accidentally by ordinary people simply digging where no one was supposed to dig. And maybe that is what makes stories like this so unsettling. Not because we know what was found, but because we don't. Somewhere beneath silent deserts, forgotten forests, and isolated mountains, countless secrets likely remain hidden, waiting, buried, undisturbed, at least for now.
But what if Red Canyon was only the beginning? What if the chamber beneath Arizona was not an isolated discovery, but part of something much larger hidden across the United States? Because years after the Red Canyon incident was quietly buried from public attention, another strange event reportedly occurred nearly 1,400 miles away, deep in the forests of the eastern United States. This second case would be even harder to explain. No desert, no ancient canyon, no road construction, just an ordinary group of surveyors mapping forest land for a future state park expansion, and a discovery that would leave an entire region surrounded by rumors, fear, and unanswered questions. This is the story of the underground hall beneath Black Hollow Forest. In October of 2007, a small environmental survey team was sent into a heavily wooded area near the Appalachian region. The land was old, very old. Locals often described parts of it as untouched for centuries. The land was thick with towering trees, deep ravines, moss-covered stone, and natural fog that settled low across the ground during early mornings. To outsiders, it was simply another remote American forest, but for locals, Black Hollow had a reputation. Hunters avoided certain sections, campers often refused to stay overnight. Older residents told strange stories about missing livestock, unexplained lights between the trees, and distant metallic sounds heard after midnight. As with most rural legends, outsiders dismissed the stories until the survey began. The team's assignment was routine: map elevation, analyze soil stability, and identify safe areas for future trails. Everything went normally for the first 3 days. Then, one member noticed something unusual on ground-penetrating radar. Roughly 70 feet beneath one section of the forest floor, the scanner showed geometric formations. Straight lines, large rectangular spaces, angles too precise to be natural. At first, technicians assumed it was old mining infrastructure, perhaps abandoned tunnels from the 1800s. This region had historical mining activity. Nothing seemed shocking. But when they checked historical records, no mines had ever been documented in that area, not one. Curiosity quickly turned into investigation. A temporary excavation began. Workers cleared roots, soil, and layers of stone. After 2 days of digging, they uncovered a flat stone slab nearly 15 feet long. Its edges were too clean, its corners too symmetrical, and carved across its surface was an unusual symbol: 3 concentric circles intersected by a vertical line. No letters, no numbers,
just the symbol, repeated again and again. The slab was eventually lifted using a small crane. Beneath it was an opening, a narrow passage descending underground. Cold air rushed upward immediately. One worker later described it as opening a freezer buried under the earth. Flashlights revealed stone steps leading downward, perfectly intact, dry, ancient, and covered in dust, untouched by wind or animals. By now, local authorities had been notified. Archaeologists arrived within 48 hours. An official underground survey was approved. The first descent included 5 people, 2 archaeologists, 1 structural engineer, 1 technician, and 1 state officer. The staircase descended nearly 50 feet. At the bottom was something none of them expected, a hallway, not a cave tunnel, not a mine shaft, an actual hallway. Stone walls, flat floor, arched ceiling, symmetrical design. The corridor stretched forward beyond flashlight range. Whoever built it understood architecture and precision. Along both walls were carved recesses holding what looked like ancient torch placements, but no soot marks existed, as if fire had never actually been used there. The team advanced cautiously. Every sound echoed unnaturally. Footsteps bounced across the corridor with strange delay, as though the acoustics were somehow distorted. One technician later reported joking that it felt like walking inside a giant empty cathedral. No one laughed. Roughly 60 feet ahead, the hallway opened into a massive chamber. This room was unlike anything found in that region before. It measured approximately 80 feet across, circular, domed ceiling, smooth stone floor, and at the center stood 12 stone pillars arranged in a ring. Each one was nearly 9 feet tall, each engraved with symbols. But here was the strangest detail. The symbols did not resemble Native American carvings, colonial markings, or known European scripts. Instead, researchers describe them as a hybrid of geometric mathematics and abstract astronomy. Lines, dots, angles, circular maps, patterns resembling star constellations. On one pillar, investigators found an image that deeply unsettled them. It depicted several human figures standing around a circular opening in the ground. Above them hovered a large, dark shape, oval-like, featureless, watching. No one could explain the meaning. Carbon dating was attempted on organic residue found in cracks near the pillars. Results reportedly returned inconsistent readings. Some samples suggested several hundred years, others suggested thousands. The data made no sense. Equipment was recalibrated multiple times. Results remained inconsistent.
Then came the first unexplained event. During the second night of investigation, one security guard stationed above ground radioed that he heard sounds coming from below. At first, it sounded like tapping, slow, rhythmic, metal against stone. Tap, tap, tap. He assumed the research team was still below, but all personnel had already exited hours earlier. The underground site was supposed to be empty. Authorities checked the chamber. No one was inside. Yet multiple team members later admitted they too had heard unusual sounds during previous visits. Low vibrations, soft echoes, movement where no movement should exist. On day 6, things escalated. One survey technician disappeared. He had been cataloging wall markings inside the chamber. When colleagues returned after a short equipment trip, he was gone. His flashlight remained on the ground, still functioning. His notebook lay open nearby. No signs of struggle, no footprints leading away, no collapse, nothing. Search efforts lasted nearly 14 hours,
Eventually, he was found, not outside, not deeper underground, but back inside the original hallway, standing motionless against the wall, facing stone, unresponsive. When brought outside, he reportedly refused to answer questions. Medical staff later noted signs of severe shock. According to leaked reports, he wrote one sentence repeatedly on paper over the next several hours. It was already here before us. No one knew what that meant. Within 72 hours, the entire excavation was suspended. Federal agencies arrived. Road access to the forest was blocked. The official explanation cited environmental concerns and unstable underground conditions. Sound familiar? Locals were unconvinced. Rumors spread quickly. Some believed the underground hall was evidence of a forgotten civilization predating known settlements. Others proposed hidden societies, lost rituals, or secret military experiments. But the oldest residents had another explanation. According to regional folklore, Black Hollow Forest had long been associated with the buried watchers. Legends described ancient beings sleeping beneath the hills. Not gods, not spirits, watchers, silent observers beneath the earth, waiting. Most treated these stories as harmless mythology, until excavation teams reportedly experienced similar patterns to Red Canyon. Strange dreams, sleep paralysis, whispering sounds near temporary camps, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. One archaeologist allegedly resigned midway through investigation. No explanation given. A year later, an anonymous online post appeared on a now-deleted forum. The author claimed to have worked inside the Black Hollow site. He wrote that the public never saw the deepest chamber. According to him, beyond the main hall was a sealed doorway hidden behind one pillar, and behind that doorway, another staircase, descending even farther underground. He never explained what was below. His final sentence read, "If even half of what was documented becomes public, people will never look at American land the same way again." Then the account vanished. No verified records ever surfaced afterwards. Today, Black Hollow Forest remains partially restricted. Satellite maps show unusual gaps in accessible trails around certain zones, though no official reason is publicly emphasized. Hikers still discuss strange feelings in the area, cold spots, compass interference, unusual silence among wildlife. Perhaps coincidence, perhaps imagination, or perhaps another forgotten piece of history hidden beneath ordinary American soil. Two locations, two underground discoveries, two abrupt government closures, and the same lingering pattern: ancient structures, unknown symbols, secrecy, fear, silence. Maybe these are simply disconnected mysteries exaggerated by rumor, or maybe beneath America's vast deserts, forests, and mountains, something far older still remains hidden, not lost, not destroyed, only buried, waiting for the next excavation, waiting for the next mistake. And perhaps the most chilling thought of all, how many more chambers are still down there?